Podcast City Network.
Hey guys, welcome to another exciting episode of Final Score, episode 120. And as you saw in our episode graphic for this week's episode, football is back. And I am so excited for this, just as I know that my co-host tonight is also super excited for it. The man, the myth, the legend himself, Ivan. How you doing tonight, bud?
I'm doing good, man. Not too shabby. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing pretty good, man, especially now that we got football back. But you got to make sure to follow us on social media at PCN Final Score on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, and Instagram. Go on there and smash those like, follow, and subscribe buttons. That way you can get the latest and greatest from Final Score, whether it be a dope meme, the latest sports story, or our live episodes every single week. But also go ahead and hit the react and share buttons in the corners of this video. That way you can help Final Score get out there even more. And we definitely appreciate you guys doing that for us. But it is now time to talk some college football, and we have the Final Score college football top 10. And this last week was absolutely insane. We saw upsets, we saw great games, we saw complete blowouts, and it was a bunch of craziness. What were your thoughts, initial thoughts on it, Ivan?
Man, Chris, this was a fantastic week. I was so waiting for, this is my sweet spot, so I was waiting for college football for quite some time. So, man, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'll watch another Bishop Sycamore game if it was to get me ready for a college football season. But no, man, Chris, it was fantastic. There were so many ups and downs. Like you said, you got a little bit of everything, so it was fantastic, man. I thought it was a hell of a way to start the week off, and hell, even that UCF game was pretty interesting, you know?
Oh, yeah, we had one of our other hosts, S Money over at Fixed Edge, was actually at that UCF game and said it was wild. So,
yeah, man,
a lot of crazy stuff going on. But to go ahead, and we're going to start hitting on this top 10. Our first team coming in at number 1, repeat number 1, Alabama, now 1-0 after beating number 14 Miami 44-13 behind the great arm of Bryce Young, who went 27-38, 344 yards and 4 touchdowns in his debut. That's absolutely crazy, man.
Yeah, he was a consensus, I want to say, number 1 pocket passer in the nation when he was coming out. So I'm not surprised of how well that he's playing. I mean, that's what you get when you go to Alabama. I mean, you don't go to Alabama to sit the bench. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I believe that he's going to do just fine. I think that he's actually going to do better than his predecessors, personally. Even Tua. So I think Bryce Young's going to be a 3-year starter. He's going to win a Heisman. He's going to do great things. And this is just an indication of things to come. So let's not forget Jameson Williams also, 126, 4 receptions and a touchdown. So,
oh yeah.
That's not bad. I want to say he plays for Miami, right?
No. That's
no, that is okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm confusing him with another player. Okay. So no. And Jameson Williams, that's a pretty good showing too on 4 catches, man. That's pretty impressive. So, they also have, I forget who the other receiver is there. I want to say, he's a veteran kid. His name is eluding me, but he had a fantastic game as well. But Bryce Young did great things.
We're probably thinking of John Mechie.
There you go, John Mechie. That's who I'm thinking about. Thank you very much. That's exactly who I was thinking of. So yeah. Alabama looks like they're still Alabama. I don't see anybody beating them this year, and even my Gators. We don't have Trask back there. So yeah, Alabama looks good, man.
Yeah, they definitely do. But coming in at number 2, making a nice little rise in our rankings, is none other than the Georgia Bulldogs, who knocked off at the time number 3 Clemson 10-3. And I got to watch this game, and it was a defensive battle from start to finish. Absolutely insane. And JT Daniels, though, 22 of 30, 135 yards and a pick. No offensive touchdowns in this game. The Georgia Bulldogs were able to get a pick six in it against DJ, and this game was just something to watch. If you love that old gritty defensive style of ball, man, this was the game to watch.
I second that. I mean, that kind of made me think of one of those old Alabama LSU, Alabama Georgia, Alabama, one of these crazy defensive battles, like we see in the SEC West, time in, time out, man. But I will be honest with you, brother. I think Clemson, that could be their only loss this year, to be completely honest with you. But don't count out FSU, man. I know we'll get to them, but I'm thinking about them when I'm looking at Clemson. But no, we're talking about Georgia. Let's get back on track. But no, Georgia looks good, man. I mean, JT Daniels played great, but I'm going to be honest with you. 135 and no touchdowns and a pick isn't going to win you another game against an elite team. So I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not impressed with Georgia and Clemson. I'm really not. So. Yes, they did beat Clemson. Yes, they did move to number 2. Yes, they looked great defensively, but just like every Kirby Smart team, they suffer offensively one way or another. So I am not gonna. I'm not gonna sit there and give Georgia everything because I don't know yet. So that's pretty much my stance on them right now. Let's be honest. Besides the pick six, the game. I feel like the game would have been one of those field goal games going into overtime. Let's be honest, but DJ threw the pick and didn't go their way that week last week. So
no, definitely didn't, and it definitely was just such a struggle. It seemed like offensively for both teams in all facets, and we'll touch more on Clemson and their woes later. But it was just really bad for both teams. So. I don't know. I think you're right. We haven't really seen enough to really know much about Clemson or Georgia at this point, given right. Clemson having to break in a new quarterback, Georgia just trying to build off last season. So we'll see what we end up with. But at number 3, we have a little drop with Oklahoma, who was our last week's number 2, now 1-0 after winning a narrow victory over Tulane, 40-35. Spencer Rattler, man, he didn't look all that sharp, did he?
He did complete most of his passes. 30-39 isn't bad with 304. That's not bad. I will say what is bad and concerning is I kind of feel like it's a little bit of regression here because, you can in the modern game, you can throw for 300 yards, no problem with all the small little routes, this right. and that. I'm not trying to get into detail. But, no, 2 interceptions is a problem. And let alone you only beat Tulane by 5 at home. Mm-hmm. That's concerning. That's extremely concerning. But look, man, I'm not trying to be negative. It's the Big 12. That's what you're gonna get. That's the quality. And look, you can sit. I know you can quote me on other episodes that we had and say, okay, well, you said Oklahoma and Texas are great. Look, I'm just being honest with you. I'm not contradicting myself. I'm not saying they're not a good addition to the SEC. Or anything like that before anybody throws me under the bus. All I'm saying is that they are not good defensively, and that is clearly evident in the performance that they had. But I will say Spencer Rattler will bounce back. The head coach, what's his name? Lincoln Riley. Mm-hmm. He's going to do a fantastic job getting the team ready to take the next step forward. So I do think Oklahoma is going to be a really strong contender down the road. But it's the first week, man. I don't want to jump the gun on some stuff. They're going to look shaky. Clemson might even be better than they were for this loss. So like I'm saying, man, there's a bunch of things that everybody's looking at here. Let's just make sure we just take this 1 week at a time. But as of right now, I think Oklahoma also has some work to do, man.
Oh, they definitely do, and they're going to have to clean up the turnovers, too. Spencer Rattler threw 2 picks in that game, and that's also concerning against a team that also defensively is not really that good. So it is concerning. Big 12 football is known for having weak defenses, so I'm hoping that's just part of what it is, but who knows? And we really won't know until Oklahoma gets against some tougher competition. Right. But looking at our next game, we have number 4 Ohio State, who holds the spot down pat from last week after their 45-31 win over Minnesota. C.J. Stroud had to come out and make some magic happen in the second half, throwing all 4 of his touchdowns in the second half, and Ohio State was able to get the win. What do you think about it, man?
I personally thought Ohio State, offensively looked shaky in the first half, as you can tell, going down in the half, 14-10. You got to be a little concerned if you're an OSU fan. But overall, Stroud had a pretty good game. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
would say 13-22 isn't phenomenal, but he did get the 4 TDs, 294 through the air and 4 TDs. I'm not going to complain about that, dude. I mean,
No, definitely
we
not.
always expect 300 yards and all that, but dude, 250 in the air, I'm pretty solidly happy with that. But Williams also had a good game, man. 9 carries, 125 on the ground and a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the most tragic thing taken away from this game is Ibrahim, the running back, Muhammad Ibrahim.
Mm-hmm.
He had 30 carries, 163 yards, and 2 TDs. That's an amazing outing against an Ohio State number 4 ranked team in the nation. That's unbelievable. But sadly, he is injured for the rest of the season, and it's going to be what could have been for him. So I'm sad to see that kid go. Minnesota played their asses off. I love PJ Fleck. I
Mm-hmm.
think he's a phenomenal coach. I think he's going to get a big job soon. But they just came up short. But the coaching is there. You can see what he's been building there in the past couple of years. So I love Minnesota. They put a great fight against a great program, but Ryan Day and that OSU team just overcame with the talent they had, and with the game plan. So kudos to them, and let's see how they do for the rest of the season, because Michigan doesn't look like any pushover either.
Absolutely. They looked pretty good when they came out against Western Michigan this past weekend.
Yeah,
So,
right.
yeah, Ohio State definitely is going to have a lot of work ahead of them, but it looks like they're starting to trend in the right direction, at least from what the second half looked like. So, we'll definitely see what we get going forward. But
Yeah.
our number 5 team, Texas A&M, after their big win against Kent State, 41-10, not much of a matchup. But quarterback Haynes King, who comes in as the new starter, went 21-33, 292 yards and 2 touchdowns. So, a nice solid little
Yeah.
outing. Plus, they had a decent run game, didn't they?
Yeah. I mean, I'd say what I don't even know how to say a Cheney, 12 carries, 124 on the ground, 2 TDs. I will say one thing that is concerning with the Texas A&M quarterback. I would say Haynes King needs to really look at how he's making his reads and progressing on the field. I want to say it's his first start, 3 picks
Yep.
in his first outing. I know Jimbo's not really a big fan of turnovers, so I know that's something he's going to look at there to see something change. But honestly, I mean, they looked good. Other than that, I want to say they got a pick 6 as well in this game. So I mean, the Texas A&M defense looks great. That's a gritty team. I want to say they're miles ahead of their counterpart in the Big 12, and that's Texas and Oklahoma. I think they could beat those teams, in my opinion,
Absolutely.
Texas A&M. So anyway, with that being said, I mean, I would, instead of the nation making them number 6, I would bump them up to 4 or 5. In my opinion, I would put them at number 4 or number 3. I think I like Jimbo. I don't know. That's just my opinion. And they beat Kentucky State pretty soundly. So, or Kent State, excuse me, the Flash. So I honestly think, man, that TAMU is going to have a great season. I mean, as you can tell, Jimbo Fisher coach teams just do great every
Absolutely.
season.
Absolutely, they do. And they definitely were able to earmark into 5. So definitely not too bad on our list. But looking at our
Yeah.
next one, number 6, Clemson takes a little bit of fall from the former number 3 spot. Excuse me, after losing to number 5 Georgia 10-3. But quarterback DJ Ugalele, 19-37, 178 yards, and that pick 6 just did not look good. Looked flustered all game long. Just
I mean,
that was
19 to
uneasy.
37. Oof.
Yeah, that's bad. That's all. That's just short of 50%. So
I mean, that's terrible, man. And 178 and a pick to boot. But listen, JT Daniels didn't look any better. 135 and a pick, like we stated earlier. So, I mean, I'm going to be honest with you, Chris. There's nothing you can take from this game. Nothing at all. There's nothing I can take from this game. Yeah, Clemson's Nada had 110, but that's it. Literally, that's it. If you look at any of the highlights from that game, I mean, except for White having 74 yards on the ground, I expected him to have over a buck. So I'm I'm just a little underwhelmed by both teams. I mean, I don't know what to tell you yet. I watched some of that game, and I just was not. There were other games that were better. I mean, yeah, we love the defensive games, but let's be honest. Was it because of the defenses, or it was because of how bad the offenses were? Let's think about that for a
That's
second.
the question, and I think that's one we won't get answered until we see these teams play a few more games. So
You're right.
yeah, I think that's definitely a question mark, I think, for both these teams going forward. But the biggest thing I saw out of Clemson that was very astonishing was the only two, that's right, I said that, only two total team rushing yards. And, you know, we're talking about this Dabo Sweeney-led team. They're known for having strong running games. So,
Right.
you know, to have only
I mean,
two
but
team
here's
rushing
the
yards.
But Chris, here's the argument: how do you replace a legend, a campus legend in Travis Etienne? How do you do that? Tell me.
Yeah.
Tell me how
Near
you replace
impossible,
that
man.
production. You don't. You do not replace that production. You also don't replace that quarterback production. It's a different scheme. Trevor Lawrence read the defenses before. DJ does not like. I don't want to talk about Florida, but it's almost like Emory Jones. Like they spend too much time scaling the field. So what they do instead is they're nervous, so they rush throws or they run instead. So it's easy to contain those kind of things once you figure it out, and especially if you're an experienced coordinator in secondary or just the entire team. You know what I'm saying? You should know that by the tendency of the quarterback as the midway point of the game by halftime with the adjustments. So, in my opinion, I just think that both teams had a terrible time. 2 yards rushing. I mean, dude, like I said, they had no answer. I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, you know what the answer was, but he wasn't there. It's DeMarcus Bowman, and he's on the Florida roster now. So that's the real problem. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of people were expecting even Will Shipley to come out and be able to make some noise,
Right.
and even he didn't do anything. So,
Right.
you know, it's just bad. It's just bad all the way around right now. So, a lot of questions over there for the Clemson Tigers right now. But before we get to our next ranking, quick shout out to our people in the chat listening to the show. We thank you guys so much for joining us. Forrest Nystrom in there, as well as good old Jimmy. And Jimmy's saying he's going to take all of Ivan's Jimbo audio out of context for his daily motivation. Gotta love it, man. You gotta love it.
Do.
But
I'm glad to see everybody back in the chat again. This is good. And the next, I can't wait to talk about this because you know I love to roast your ass. I watched this entire game from start to finish, so there's nothing you're going to tell me that I don't already know.
well, it's funny because I think I might surprise you with something, and it's going to taste like vinegar coming out of my mouth, but it'll be interesting.
That's
but anyways,
shocking, and I know how much you're an emphatic lover of the Irish, so I know.
Oh yes.
I know it's hard for you to admit. I mean, trust me, I get it. You have a better football team than I do, man. So I have no room to talk, man.
Well, our number 7 team, as alluded to, is none other than the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, who are now 1-0 after beating FSU 41-38 in overtime in a hell of a thrilling game. The one takeaway I could take from this, though, is that we finally found a quarterback that isn't afraid to sling it down the field, in quarterback Jack Cohen, who went 26-35, 366, and 4 touchdowns, which was also a debut record.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I want to say that is the record, both in yards and touchdown passes, for a Notre Dame quarterback in his first outing.
Absolutely is, and the person who held the record before Jack Cohen was his offensive coordinator, Tommy Rees. So, yeah, absolutely crazy. But you also had All-American tight. Oh, yeah, I know. It's absolutely wild when you think about these kinds of things that happen like that. And tight end Michael Mayer went out there, had himself a show. That guy's going to end up being an NFL tight end in no time. That dude, highly touted.
Good. He's good, man. I like that kid. Mayer, he's fantastic. Yeah, 120. I'm surprised they didn't give him 15 targets or more than that. You know what I mean? Like, homeboy should have had at least 15 catches and about 150 and 3 touchdowns. I mean, didn't he drop one? I want to say he dropped one. I'm not sure.
Yeah, he definitely did drop one.
Okay, but I will say this, Chris. In my assessment of watching this game, Notre Dame didn't do themselves any favor towards the end of the game. Yeah. But I will say that kid, what's his name?
Mackenzie Milton.
the defensive
Oh,
back for
Thomas.
you guys.
You're talking about you're talking
What's
about
his
our
name?
All-American Kyle
Yeah,
Hamilton.
that kid's a stud. I'm trying to remember his name. He had like what, a pick or two?
2 picks.
Hamilton.
Yeah,
Hamilton.
Kyle Hamilton had
Yep.
2 picks
Dude,
and is a consensus top 5 pick for next year's
that
draft.
guy was spectacular. I have not seen a defensive performance like that in quite some time. He took over the game. I think they had to scheme Florida State. And look, I'm a Gator fan. I'm going to tell you right now, man, Mike Norvell's impressed the hell out of me, and I'm going to tell you why.
Mm-hmm.
He schemed in the second half to take the ball away from what's his face, the defensive player we were just talking about, Hamilton.
Yes.
They schemed to take away him in the second half because, as you can see, he didn't do anything. I'm not saying he didn't make plays, but he was ineffective. So I got to give it to him. And also, they knew, dude, they had 144. Corbin had 144 on the ground and a touchdown.
Well, yeah,
And
but one of
89.
those was just an 89-yard rush.
Still, Chris, that's an amazing game. And what are you going to tell me? Ward was on mistake. He had 76 yards and a touchdown. As long as it was 19 yards. I'm not sticking up for the Knowles, but I'm going to give credit where credit's due. And I know they want us to mention Milton, but I'm going to tell you this much: Milton would not have seen the light of day if Travis does not throw 3 interceptions. And
Or get knocked out.
I mean, his helmet came off. That's why, and he never came back. But I'll say this: Travis was having a good game until he started forcing throws. They started making him throw instead of using your check downs, and he just started running, and that's what happened. So, in my opinion, I think they did the right move with switching to Milton. But I'm not saying Mackenzie Milton is your answer to your questions. Yes, it's a great story, and all that jazz. But I'm going to be honest with you. Notre Dame was a little bit off in the second half. They let them get back in the game. It was at Doak Campbell. There's a lot of factors into that, but Notre Dame played a great game. I'm not taking anything away from them. Cone played a freaking fantastic game. The receivers had fantastic numbers. So many guys touched the ball, man. So I cannot be upset with that. Notre Dame played great. FSU played just as great. And it's fantastic because I think college football is good with a good FSU team. So I'm not trying to spend too much time on this, but, man, I got to give some love to the Knowles because, dude, Milton had a fantastic outing. But Travis, think about this. Travis doesn't even throw 1 pick, and one of those is a touchdown. Florida State wins that game.
Very true. And also, if Florida State doesn't ice their kicker either, and that was something else that came up at the end of the game. But here's the thing I look at with this game. Notre Dame did play extremely solid. However, FSU should never have gotten back in this game. I agree that Mike Norvell really schemed his ass off to be able to get FSU in position to possibly win this game. The big thing I see with this is not that Notre Dame, because a lot of people are saying, oh, well, Notre Dame sucks. Notre Dame doesn't suck. Notre Dame's still a great team.
I don't think they suck at all.
I think FSU has risen to the challenge and might actually be a good team this year, especially considering all the SEC transfers that they accepted in that has bolstered that defense. They've been able to bolster the offense, also bringing in Mackenzie Milton and others. And this team is a much better FSU team than we've seen in the past 5 years. This team might be able to actually contend in the ACC, and dare I say, I might even be scared if my name is Clemson right now because FSU just proved that they can score on a good defense. So, I mean, sky's the limit right now.
And I want to add, I honestly think, the way FSU defense played, they played gritty, they played solid. I'd say in the beginning they kind of was, they were spinning their wheels trying to figure it out. But once they did, I mean, it was a roughneck game. And I want to say that one of the things is the biggest problem in college football is you just cannot leave teams hanging around. That's the biggest problem is if you let a team believe, they're going to do it. So they almost shocked Notre Dame. So kudos to FSU and kudos to Notre Dame. I mean, it was high praise all around, man. I have no negative things to say.
Yeah, and it definitely was a heart-stopping game all the way through. You didn't know what was going to happen there at the end either, and it was an exciting game to watch. But enough about them. Let's move on to our next team. Number 8, Cincinnati, who got their big win against Miami of Ohio, 49-14. Quarterback Desmond Ritter coming out and having a fantastic game, 20-25, 295 yards and 4 touchdowns. Yeah, a lot of Heisman potential with those kind of numbers, man. So, what do you think about Cincinnati's outing?
It's Miami of Ohio. I mean, I'm not trying to be negative, but I don't like Cincinnati being ranked number 8. I think there's other teams deserving of that. But what do I know? I mean, I understand the Ritter kid's great. I know they have a solid team. I'm not taking that away from Cincinnati, but it's going to go back to what I'm telling you. Get out of that crappy conference, and then we'll talk. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm tired of these. Do you think they're top 10 worthies? Truthfully, I think they are, just because they do have talent and they've proven they can win. However, there is some things about the crappy conference aspect of that could change soon, which we'll talk about that a little bit later in the show. But with what they've been able to do, if they can keep showing that they belong, I have no problem with them being in the top 10. It's just they are going to have a lot of stiff competition later on, including a date with Notre Dame. So Cincinnati is definitely going to have chances, I think, to prove themselves or not prove themselves, as the case may be. They're not going to beat Notre Dame. I'm sorry. I understand that their offense is great, and that Ritter kid, fantastic. I'm not denying that. I just don't think they have the stamina to hang with the better teams.
Mm-hmm. That definitely could be the case, and we'll definitely see
about that.
Yeah, we'll definitely see. They still have a decent running game too, with Jerome Ford, who's able to get 121 yards on 12 carries. So they're showing that they can throw it and pass it offensively, and defensively they just have a lot of studs. But they also did lose their defensive coordinator to Notre Dame. So, it'll be interesting to see how their season will progress the rest of the way, and we'll see what we get from them come next week. But our next team, number 9, Iowa State, 1-0 after beating Northern Iowa in a really tight one, 16-10. Brock Purdy not looking all that great. Was able to complete a lot of passes, but still was under 200 yards. Running back Breece Hall also not looking super solid. Is there a cause for concern in Iowa State?
I mean, I think it's just kind of the case with a lot of the teams that kind of had close calls, man. It's just getting back into the thick of it and trying to get back into it. And I like Purdy. I don't know what happened with him this week, but man, it's the beginning of the season jitters, man. I think it's just that. I think Iowa State's going to be solid. I'm not really worried about them. I'm looking for them to be kind of a mainstay. So I think they also have a chance to represent in the Big Ten. So in their side of the conference. So I think they'll be okay.
Yeah, Iowa State definitely will have a test come next week against our number 10 team, Iowa, who beat number 17 Indiana to death. I think the final score is 34-6. And it was absolutely crazy. The quarterback Spencer Petras, 13-27, 145 yards, no touchdowns passing, but did have a rushing touchdown, and just showing a nice gritty win. Also defensively being able to get a pick 6 against Indiana, really making them look like they didn't belong in a lot of ways. So really was a great game for them, but Iowa, man, you might have to watch out for the Hawkeyes.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they forced a pretty decent quarterback in Penix Jr. to throw 3 picks. I mean, that's not bad, dude. But Iowa's been solid since I've been alive, man.
Yeah, you ain't lying.
Iowa's just, I mean, what's his name? The head coach over there. He's still over there? I can't think of his name for the life of me.
Oh, you're thinking
right
of Kirk Ferentz?
Yeah, Kirk Ferentz. Yeah. I wonder if he's still there, man. But yeah, dude. Iowa is fantastic. I'm interested to see what's going to happen. I'm very interested to see with them in Iowa State this week. So
yeah,
very, very, very excited.
Yeah, that's one of our games in our games to watch section, which we'll touch on here in a little bit. But looking at the teams that fell out of our top 10, North Carolina, our former number 10, losing to Virginia Tech 17-10. Were you shocked at all by that?
Yeah, that is shocking. I mean, Virginia Tech, I'm not taking anything away from VTech, but I mean, VTech is not kind of a B minus caliber team, beating a Heisman and top draft pick potential and Sam Howell. I'm pretty shocked that they took that loss like that, or yeah, they took that loss like that, and he just didn't look like it was there. So that's kind of shocking. But some of the things that I think about are you got to think about some of these teams just are studying last year's film on you. So when they come out to that first game, they know everything there is to know about you. So it's hard to implement new stuff when you can't use the old stuff. You know what I mean? So
Oh yeah, absolutely.
yeah, no, that's shocking to me. Yeah, I really can't. I hope North Carolina bounces back because I'd love to see them contend in the ACC. I don't want to see them start losing a couple games and Mac Brown gets fired.
Yeah, I don't want to see that. I like seeing Mac Brown on the sideline, honestly.
Yeah,
It's really
I do
great.
too, man.
Yeah, it's really great to see him at his alma mater. So definitely don't want to see that go away at all. But some of our games to watch this upcoming week, we got number 12 Oregon traveling to number 4 Ohio State. That'll be Saturday, 12 p.m. on Fox, which is going to be our top marquee game of the weekend. Pac-12 versus Big Ten, man. Who do you think got that one?
I think Ohio State's gonna run them ragged, in my opinion. I think Ohio State's they just got a great offense. No matter who you put in there, it's fantastic watching them. Even though I hate them, but yeah, Ohio State is fantastic offensively. So I don't really see them. Could be an offensive shootout, but I doubt it. Ohio State typically has a pretty solid defense, so I'm not too worried about that.
Absolutely. I think Ohio State will be able to take it too. And unless Oregon finds some answers, because they didn't look that great against Fresno State, that Ohio State's probably going to end up taking that one. But our second game to watch, number 10 Iowa at number 9 Iowa State, Saturday, 4:30 p.m. on ABC. This is for the Battle of Iowa, and this is going to be one hell of a game,
The
I think.
Cy-Hawk Trophy, I think it's called.
That's right. Cy-Hawk Trophy, man. So who do you think is going to take that one?
I honestly, man, that's a tough one because I love both teams, and I think Iowa State's going to pull that one out, man. Just judging by the way I saw. Ooh, excuse me. Ooh. Oh, there's a good yawn. There's a live yawn. But no, I feel like Iowa State's got more of a punch, than Iowa does at this point of the season. I think they're more polished, in my opinion. But before we get to the next game to watch, I just gotta give some love to my boys, Florida. We won 35-14. And in a couple of weeks, we'll be in the top 10, so I won't have to bring this up anymore. But I will say this. We looked fantastic. We ran a lot of we honestly just ran the ball to death. I'm going to be honest with you. We didn't try to do anything special passing or anything like that. But Florida does lead the NCAA with 400 yards on the ground. 160 was Anthony Richardson. 104 was Malik Davis. And 2 of the 3 top rushers were quarterbacks. And Emory Jones had 74. So, I mean, the passing game didn't impress me whatsoever. Emory looked terrible. He had 2 picks, and people were kind of going, hey, we want Anthony Richardson to play. I don't know if you saw some of the highlights, but there was a stiff arm, a leap, hurdle over somebody. I'm telling you, man, the Florida offense, if we look more polished against UCF or USF, watch out Alabama. I still think we're going to get our asses kicked up.
We'll definitely see one way or the other. But our last game to watch is of 2 unranked teams. Washington, after losing to FCS Montana, will be traveling to the Big House to take on Michigan, who just throttled Western Michigan. And the reason I put this game on here is because other than the fact that there's a lot of completely uneven matchups this weekend, this one figures to be teams going in 2 different directions. If Washington can't beat Michigan, they're going to start the season 0-2 and already be in a hole. Michigan could get themselves back ranked. The other way around, Washington needs to try and prove themselves again after losing to FCS Montana. So a lot is riding on this game for both these teams.
Yeah, I hate the Big Ten, so yeah. I will not be watching the Washington-Michigan game.
But that one
no, I probably will. I kid.
It's going to be a good one, I think. And,
it is. No, look, man. I love the Big Ten. I love cold football. I love all of college football, man. It's fun no matter what part of the U.S. you watch it, what region, whatever. But like the old SEC adage goes, it just means more, Chris. I'm sorry that you had to bandwagon jump some team that hasn't been good since like '93, and before that, 1948.
Oh man, you're killing me,
I'm
man.
kidding.
But
Ty Willingham had maybe a good season or two, right?
right. But Washington, Michigan will take place this Saturday, 8 p.m. on ABC. So definitely make sure to check it out. But that does wrap up our college football segment, which now means it's time for a little bit of content platforms, which you can find us on a bunch of different platforms, including Podbean, Stitcher, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Bullhorn, Player FM, Listen Notes, YouTube, Spotify, Castbox, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Amazon Music. Go on there, hit those like, follow, and subscribe buttons, and check out the latest and greatest from Final Score. But it now means that's time to give away a free T-shirt. Where's my horn? There it is. Oh, yeah, and it's going to be a good one this week. Got a really good trivia question for everyone to win a free T-shirt. But remember, to win the T-shirt, you have to get the correct answer and post it into the chat. And the first person to correctly answer it will be able to win themselves a new T-shirt in a color of their choice. So with that being said, our question for this week is, who has won the most national championships across college football? That's all of college football. We're talking D1, D2, D3, whole 9, FCS, FBS, the whole shebang-a-bang. All right, who has won the most national championships across all of college football? Get that answer in the chat and win yourself a free Final Score T-shirt. And yeah, man, this is a good one. I hope somebody will get it, because this is a good question. It took me a little bit to come up with this one, just a little bit. But that does mean, though, that you got to also check out, if you're going to win yourself a free T-shirt and you don't win one, you can go ahead and get one on the Podcast City Network shop. All you have to do is go to podcastcity.net/shop and check out all the great stuff going on there, because whether it's a neck gaiter to protect you from COVID-19, a mug for your morning coffee, or a T-shirt just to look cool, they got you covered. Get the latest apparel and gear for your favorite podcast and Podcast City Network by visiting podcastcity.net/shop and checking out the lineup. But that does now mean it's time for NFL Week 1 predictions, and we're going to rapid fire a lot of these, so this is going to be fun. I hope you're ready for this. I don't know if you got to see how we did this last year, but we'll go ahead and give a quick fact, rapid fire your pick, and we're going to keep rolling through because we got a lot of games on here. So our first one will be the Thursday night game, our season opener, Dallas Cowboys at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Looking like that Tom Brady's back to full health and Tampa returning all their starters with Dallas Cowboys coming in. I think that the Bucs are going to end up taking this one. What do you think, Ivan?
Yeah, I think the Bucs all the way, man.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Bucs definitely I think are going to be able to defend that title without too many issues this year, possibly, but we'll see. Our next game, though, is our Sunday 1 p.m. slot. My Philadelphia Eagles traveling on down to Atlanta, take on them Dirty Birds, the Atlanta Falcons. Eagles bringing in Jalen Hurts finally as the starter and bringing new head coach Nick Sirianni. I think that they're going to have enough to get enough going against Atlanta to be able to pull out the win, and it's going to be fly, Eagles fly. What do you think, Ivan?
Yeah, I hate to go against you. I know you love the Philly, but I got to go with the Falcons. I think Kyle Pitts is going to have a big day. He's going to have 130 and 2 touchdowns in the air. And I think that will be as good as Matt Ryan does. He will find Calvin Ridley, but I mean, hey, I'm going to give Matt Ryan 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a pick. That's what I think. And
man.
I know you hate to hear that, but I'm not trying to spend too much time on this, but I will say it's going to be a struggle because they're going to try to figure out the quarterback situation, and that's what's going to be their biggest hindrance in that whole game.
Definitely could be. Our next 1 p.m. game, though, we'll see the Pittsburgh Steelers traveling up to Buffalo to take on the very strong Bills. Bills looking great after signing their quarterback to an extension, having Stephon Diggs out there, Devin Singletary, and a very, very good defense. I really think the Bills are going to be able to take it to the Steelers and put the Steelers to 0-1. What do you think, Ivan?
I think it's going to be Bills all the way.
Oh,
Bills
yeah.
all the way. Oh, yeah. I do love what's his face? The new running back they got, Najee Harris from Alabama. I love him, but I just think the Bills are too polished, man, and they're just ready to kick off another successful campaign.
Absolutely, absolutely. Our next 1 p.m. game, though, sees the Minnesota Vikings going on into Cincinnati to take on the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm all over the place right now. Joe Burrow coming back off of his major knee injury and also seeing the debut of Jamar Chase, I think is going to end up being a huge 1-2 punch. And I think the Vikings are not going to be able to keep up. And I think the Bengals are going to upset the Vikings and take this one to start out 1-0. What do you think, Ivan?
I think the Vikings are. I think I do want to see how Burrow looks with Jim. Who did they just get? What's the receiver's name from LSU? Farr.
Oh yeah. I think I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. I wonder how he's going to do, but it's going to be interesting. I just don't think they're going to be able to shut down my number one pick, Dalvin Cook. So.
Oh, yeah, we'll definitely see, and it'll definitely be interesting all the way through. But as a quick reminder, if you missed our trivia question and want to win yourself a free T-shirt, who has won the most national championships across college football? Get your answer in the chat and win yourself a T-shirt. But our next game that we're going to be looking at is going to be the San Francisco 49ers traveling up to Mo City to take on the Detroit Lions. Detroit Lions, though, I do not think it's going to be all that great with Goff. 49ers starting to get things going, especially with Jimmy G and Trey Lance. And I think the 49ers are going to end up taking this one against the Lions.
Yeah, I agree with you. I second that. You get no complaints from me with that one.
Absolutely. In our next game, we have the Arizona Cardinals traveling on over to take on the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee looking really strong with Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill, but also bring in Julio Jones to the mix, giving themselves a nice vertical passing attack. And I think Tennessee is going to be able to ride a more dynamic offense to a huge win against the Cardinals. What do you think, Ivan?
Yeah, I mean, I have to go with the Cardinals here. I know the Titans have Derrick Henry. I know they have. I know AJ Brown. I know Julio. I know they got all these weapons, but I just think there's something to Kyler. There's something to the weapons that they've added in the offseason. I think the defense is going to be balls to the wall this opening week. So if they can stay healthy, I think the Cardinals will be a force to reckon with. But as for this game, I have the Cardinals.
Ooh, okay, that's a nice pick. Our next game in the 1 p.m. slot, we see the Seattle Seahawks traveling on into Indianapolis to take on the Colts in Lucas Oil Stadium. Colts may or may not have Wentz. He's still slated, I think, to start in week 1, but he had issues with COVID, so we don't know how that will necessarily affect things. Colts haven't always been looking the strongest, but I think Russell Wilson's coming in with a chip on his shoulder and ready to bomb this down to Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf and make magic happen. And I say Seahawks take it against the Colts.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to second that. I think the Colts are they're too many. I do like Frank Reich, but there's too many questions to be answered, man, on that offense. So until those things get answered, I don't really have anything positive for Indy. I do like their running backs, but that's not going to be enough to stop Russell Wilson and Metcalf. So yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Our next game, we see the LA Chargers travel into the Capitol to take on the Washington football team. Washington football team bringing in Ryan Fitzpatrick and trying to retool their offense a little bit, but I still don't think it's going to be enough against the reigning Rookie of the Year, Justin Herbert, and this vaunted offense, who I think is going to be able to take this one extremely easily against the football team. What do you think, Ivan?
Yeah, I'm a huge Justin Herbert fan, dude. I don't care who the hell they would have been playing this week. Most weeks I'm picking them. I love this kid. He's the next big thing. I honestly am in love with LA. I think the Chargers are going to stomp the crap out of them, and it's going to be just another day for us to just gaga over Justin Herbert.
Absolutely. Our next 1 p.m. game, though, we see the New York Jets travel on down to Carolina to take on the Panthers, who are now led by Sam Darnold, the former Jets quarterback. But we also are going to see the debut of Zach Wilson for the New York Jets. However, I think there's one thing a lot of people keep forgetting about this game. Oh, yeah, that one guy, Christian McCaffrey, who I think is going to be able to come in here and take over this game and help the Panthers take down the Jets. What do you think, Ivan?
Yeah, I got to tell you, CMC will be back. Sam Darnold's in. They'll have. I think Sam Darnold's going to surprise people this year, man. I think the Panthers are going to be a team that people aren't expecting to do well, but they're going to.
Mm-hmm.
But I do pick the Panthers, and I do think that Zach Wilson's going to have a hard time, just like every rookie does, unless he's some crazy, you know, I can't think of the word. It's some kind of god or something. But no, I just don't think that's going to happen. And I think they're going to get stomped. I think Dan Darnold and DJ Moore and Anderson, they're all going to have a big game. CMC is going to have a big game. They're going to roll, and that's Panthers all day.
Yeah, and a big shout out to Jimmy saying the one thing people may forget is that it's the Jets.
Yeah. The Jets haven't been good since they've had Neil O'Donnell. Let that sink in.
Yeah, just for a little bit. My goodness. All right, our last 1 p.m. slotted game, though, we see the Jacksonville Jaguars travel on over to Texas to take on the Houston Texans. The Jacksonville Jaguars starting Trevor Lawrence at quarterback. Houston making the announcement about Tyrod Taylor, which we'll touch on more later. But I think the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to be able to go in here and edge out Houston for this win. What do you think, Ivan?
I think the Jags. I don't even think they're going to edge them out. I mean, look, and I love Tyrod Taylor. I think that man's been fucked over his whole career. Excuse my language, but I will say that I'm going Jags all day. But I do think you're going to see some good things from Houston amid all the scandal shit that is going on.
Yeah, right. And it's a lot of craziness in Houston right now. But looking at our 425 slot games, we're going to start out with the Cleveland Browns traveling on down to take on the Kansas City Chiefs in Kansas City. And, I mean, this is going to be a duel. Great defenses, great offenses. However, I think Kansas City is the slightly better team and will be able to take it against the Browns. What do you think?
I think the Chiefs. I mean, look, I love Baker Mayfield. I like the running back situation they got in Cleveland. I just like the offense, I like the defense. They're solid. They are, but it's the Kansas City Chiefs. You're not beating that team. So as long as they have Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, they're not losing.
Yeah, they got Mahomes, so
not many games anyway.
Oh yeah, definitely would be interesting. And Jimmy calling for an upset though, but I think that's just because of his his Raiders love there.
Yeah, man.
But looking at our next game, we got the Miami Dolphins traveling on up to take on the New England Patriots in Foxborough, and we're going to see Tua Tagovailoa taking on Mac Jones in a quarterback duel here. And I think the Patriots, with Mac Jones playing in that Bill Belichick system, is going to be able to get the job done against the Dolphins at home. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think New England's going to be fine. I think Mac Jones will have not a stellar performance. I think he'll have 200 and some change and maybe a touchdown. But I think it'll be a boring Bill Belichick way of winning, but they'll get it done. And I like Miami. I think it's going to be a close game. And don't get it twisted, man. I really do think that it'll be a 50-50 game, but I just have to go with the experience and the coaching staff. So
absolutely.
I'm going to say Pats maybe by 6.
Yeah, Jimmy calling it Pats by 4, which I could definitely see as well. This one was a really hard one for me to pick as well. So, but I think the Patriots also are going to take it. So we'll definitely see what happens once we get to that game. But our next game, which is being relocated, funny enough, the Green Bay Packers at the New Orleans Saints, being played in Jacksonville due to the damage from Hurricane Ida. So we're going to be able to see Jameis Winston taking on Aaron Rodgers. Who do you got in this one, Ivan?
I'm going to go Packers all day. As long as they have Aaron Rodgers, man, it's I honestly think it's Packers all day. I mean, you don't just go and replace a Hall of Famer with Jameis Winston, man. So just going to say it like that.
Yeah, absolutely, and it'll definitely be interesting. Jameis Winston, I think, does have potential to have a good year this year, but I still don't think it's going to be enough against the Green Bay Packers.
If he can throw less than 30 interceptions, yeah.
I mean, he got the LASIK surgery, so maybe that'll make a difference. Hopefully. We'll see. But you look at Aaron Rodgers to Devontae Adams, it's going to be such a huge connection this year, and I think that's going to be the reason the Packers end up taking this one as well.
Yeah.
Our next game, though, our last 425 game, we got the Denver Broncos traveling up to MetLife Stadium to take on the New York Giants, and this one's going to be interesting. New York Giants should have Saquon Barkley back for this game. Denver Broncos starting Teddy Bridgewater at quarterback officially now. Who do you got in this one, Ivan?
I'm going to go with the Broncos. I think, I don't. I think the Giants are still underwhelming on offense. Even with them drafting my boy Kadarius, I just not really too thrilled on any New York team, and I mean like
Yeah.
any New York team.
Yeah.
That's including like basketball and anything like that. But no, I honestly got to go with the Broncos. I feel like Bridgewater's gonna have a pretty good season. I like Bridgewater, man. They just need to give the guy a damn chance.
Yeah, that and the Broncos do boast the easiest schedule on the season, too, out of all the NFL teams. So that's something to keep
There
in
you go.
mind. However, I think Saquon Barkley is going to come back with force and is going to be able to make some damage against that Broncos defense and be able to edge out a very narrow victory. As much as it hurts me to say this, the Giants will win. So, looking at our 8:20 game, though, we got the Chicago Bears traveling on down to L.A. to take on the Rams. And this one I don't think is going to be very close. Matt Stafford, I think, is going to have a field day throwing the ball. You're going to see the Bears. They're starting Andy Dalton. Like, what can you really expect from Andy Dalton? Rams take this one, and I think easily. What do you think, Ivan?
Easily, yeah. I mean, I think you're going to see Justin Fields in this game.
You very well could.
I mean, I think it'll get to that point, but yeah, I'm going to go with Rams all day.
Absolutely. And our last game of week 1, the Monday night special, the Baltimore Ravens traveling to Las Vegas to take on the Raiders at Allegiant Stadium. And a lot of people are picking the Ravens in this one. However, I feel the Ravens, especially with the hits they've already taken, to the running back position, are going to have to rely too much on Lamar Jackson, and the Raiders are going to be able to take advantage. And I think the Raiders are going to pull the upset and beat the Ravens. What do you think, Ivan?
I agree. I think that's going to happen as well. I mean, J.K. Dobbins is out. I don't think Lamar can run and do everything himself. So I also think that Lamar is going to have some unique issues this year. Don't expect an MVP caliber year. There's nothing against his athleticism or the player. I think defenses start to figure that kind of play out. And I think that this year you'll see a lot of things trend in that way.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And it'll definitely be interesting to see how it's going to be, especially in that environment. That stadium's going to be full for the very first time, and I think it's going to be absolutely amazing atmosphere as well. So we'll definitely see what we get once we get there. But that is our NFL Week 1 predictions, which means now time to talk about Podcast City Network. What can you tell us about that, Ivan?
Well, FinalScore is a proud member of Podcast City Network. Podcast City Network has 20 independent podcast members across all genres of podcasting. Find PCN on all major social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter at PodcastCityNet, Instagram at PodcastCityNet, YouTube, search the keyword Podcast City Network website. You can just reach us out simply at podcastcity.net. We are always looking for interested podcast hosts and content creators who join the network. But we understand that may not be what you're looking for right now. You may just want a new logo, an outro, intro video, music for your show, live stream hosting for live broadcasters, voiceover work, or just some one-on-one consulting. No matter the need, we have you covered. Just go to podcastcity.net/services and fill out the contact form for the estimate so we can help you reach your podcasting goals. Be creative, be independent, be yourself. Podcast City Network.
Yes, absolutely amazing stuff there. So definitely make sure to go check that out. But now we're going to talk a little bit about the Big 12, who's talking expansion already because BYU, Houston, UCF, and Cincinnati are planning to submit applications to the Big 12. Ivan, what's your initial reaction to this?
It's about time. I mean, what, 10 years too late?
Right?
It's just I'm excited. It's going to turn into that whole big network of teams where we're gonna have football's gonna be the way that it should have been with the playoff expansions as well. So I can't wait for that. I think more teams are soon to follow suit. Don't be shocked if even like the WAC merges with the Pac-12 and then all these super conferences start coming up and then the SEC starts absorbing other conferences like the ACC. Don't be surprised, dude. I'm telling you right now. And that's why the ACC is backing out right now from all this BS because they're like, well, you know what? We simply can join the Southeastern Conference and they would take us with loving arms. You know how much class you add to the Southeastern Conference, dude?
That'd be
Miami,
crazy.
FSU, Clemson. Oh my God, dude. Man, that's why nothing has been said, because all those other schools are planning for that big domino to drop. So you just wait and see.
Oh, that'd be absolutely crazy. But
I mean,
with,
dude, is it hard to believe? Is it really that hard to believe?
I mean, at this point, anything is possible, and that's the craziness of
Right.
college football right now. Is that literally
I mean, look,
anything
if
can
I told
happen?
you this, Chris, if I told you this even 5 years ago, that college athletes were going to be paid with NIL, would you believe me?
No.
Exactly. So you can't. No one can tell me anything that I wouldn't consider right now. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, it definitely is crazy, and it's crazy how fast everything is moving too, which with the Big
Right.
12, they're saying that the schools could be approved for admission as early as September 10th. That is only 3 days from now. So absolutely crazy how fast a lot of this is moving. However, the American Athletic Conference bylaws require schools to give a 27th month notice before they leave and pay a $10 million buyout fee. But an earlier exit and higher buyout could possibly be negotiated. So we could see timelines really move a lot faster. With this, a lot of these teams are saying 2023, but it could end
Yeah.
up being even sooner.
I would say even 2023 sounds more probable. I mean, nothing's happening in 2022. Like I'm telling you, like I just don't see that. But 2023, I actually see everything coming into the fold and playoff being expanded by 2 teams.
Mm-hmm.
So then that way you can have kind of like how the MLB does their format, where you have 2 teams fight their way into the quarterfinal. And that would be interesting. I would love to see that. I mean, college football can be so exciting, man, if they let it.
Oh, yeah, and there's a lot of things going on when it comes to the playoff expansion going on right now, too. So much that could happen, so much still up in the air, and it's a very fluid situation that college football is right now. It's absolutely crazy and amazing at the same time. But with this, seeing BYU, Houston, UCF, and Cincinnati jump ship, American Athletic Conference definitely will take a huge hit, which means that they would have to re-expand and bring in more teams into the fold. So I think you're right. You're going to see like this big parasitic nature of these conferences just start vulturing each other.
Mm-hmm. I mean, because you don't want to be the odd man out in this. There's so much money to be made for these smaller teams. I mean, think about it. Like, if you're Vanderbilt, who gives a shit? You're getting a piece of the pie, and you have a chance to actually, you're an academic powerhouse. But if you just get 1 or 2 football players that could change it, look at what Jay Cutler did for that school. Think about that.
Absolutely. But speaking of college football, we're going to bring up one more time our free T-shirt giveaway trivia question. Who is the team that has the most national championships across all of college football? Post that in the chat. If we end up with no answers in the chat, we'll end up posting it on our social media. That way people can go ahead and try and fight out to win themselves a free T-shirt. So definitely make sure to check all that out. But, man, college football is getting nuts. And hopefully when the dust settles, it'll be for the better. And that's the one thing I look at. But with NIL already passing, I think we're already taking that step forward. So definitely going to be some great stuff, man. Definitely going to be some great stuff.
Oh, I agree.
But that brings us now to City Limits Tap Room. You don't know about City Limits Tap Room? Well, you need to go to 2620 North Woodland Boulevard in beautiful D-Land, Florida, and check out all the great things they have going on, where it's live music, karaoke, the great draft beers, all the sports you can watch. So many great things going on there. But they also have a slew of awesome specials every single day, including Monday with all day, $6 wing baskets and $5 pictures of Yingling, Landshark, and Busch Light. Tuesdays, Guys Night with half off all wells and drafts from 7 p.m. to close. Wednesdays, all day $5 pitchers of the posted beer from 2 p.m. to close, and $2 seltzers at the outside bar. Thursdays, Ladies Night with $1 wines, wells, and drafts from 7 p.m. to close. Fridays, karaoke with Al, great friends of the network, from 7 p.m. to close. And Sundays, $13 domestic buckets and $16 import and craft buckets all day long. So definitely make sure to check out City Limits Tap Room in beautiful D-Land, Florida. Which now brings us to the good old meme madness, which is definitely going to be a good one this week. I think we got some really funny ones that people are really going to enjoy. But looking at our very first one is the NFC East this preseason, which through 4 teams, 3 games each, 1 win. Absolutely atrocious. Oh, man. And good night, Jimmy. We see that you said that you're going to bed. Hope you get a good sleep, man, and we'll definitely catch you next
good night,
week.
Brother. It's good to see you, Jimmy.
Absolutely, absolutely. Our next meme, though, that we have for the evening says the Eagles officially have the swaggiest quarterback room in the league. I mean, we're looking at Jalen Hurts and Gardner Minshew. I mean, all you really need to add is Cam Newton, and then you got the fashion sense in there too, right? So definitely a great meme, man.
Okay, I gotta bring this up because you must be wondering, well, what the hell has Ivan doing? Well, I know we're on meme madness right now. We're gonna get to this meme, so I'm just gonna wait. I'm gonna wait because we're too late.
Oh man, he's got something.
I did some research and I didn't believe it, but it's true. And when it gets to that, we'll go.
Oh, so true. But our next meme that we have on the deck is about Tennessee, who claims to be a national power despite not having a major bowl in 20 years, claims half the SEC is their rivals, refuses to elaborate any further, and then loses.
It's Tennessee, man.
Yeah, it is. Oh, man. But our next one says, me attending a 30-minute Zoom lecture looking like death, but me attending a 5-hour fantasy draft. We could do that. I actually finished up a fantasy draft before coming on today. It's crazy. Which actually, I got your boy Kyle Pitts. He's my starting tight end, so I need him to do somewhat good.
He is. I'm telling you. Mark my words. $120 and 2 touchdowns.
It's gonna be great, man. But our next meme, though, is Cam Newton showing up to practice today, and then Bill Belichick's reaction. Oh man, it's too good. It's too good.
That's my favorite, man. Hey, people don't know, but you and I are tag team champions. You know.
Yeah, we are official tag team champions back in the day, man.
Back in the day, just so you guys remember.
And we were
that's what the wrestling meme got me thinking about.
Yeah, and we were so dominant, we won the tag titles in our first match.
Yeah, we never lost them, technically.
Technically, yeah, we never did. Yeah.
Still champs. The champs.
Still the champs. Champs are here. But our next one is it actually happened.
Okay, so now I can talk about this.
Go ahead.
I looked this up, dude. And do you hear the shit that is said in that commercial, dude?
It's crazy.
Like, it's awful. Like, he did that to Cam Newton, and like, you can't even fucking joke about that. Like, if you take out Panthers and put Patriots, it's the same. It's what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Make people forget about you and all those other things. One of the things in the chat, Chris, was that make everyone forget about you hits different these days. I laughed so hard at that. That was good.
Oh, it's too
I'm
good.
surprised. I couldn't believe that's really Mac Jones, man. Can you believe that?
Isn't that crazy?
That's Mac Jones. That kid.
It's absolutely crazy. It actually happened. Oh, man. But hey, like, that's how it goes sometimes.
Awful, dude. That little ass kid beat out a young ass Cam Newton. What the hell, man?
Yeah, that dude isn't built in any kind of way. I think we had a meme.
I can't believe this. I don't believe this. That can't be Mac Jones. That kid is not Mac Jones.
You never know.
What year was this? I need facts, man. Facts.
I mean, we're talking about the meme community here. You're only going to get so many of those.
Chris, I'm at a loss for words, man. Like that.
Oh, man. You know,
I looked it up, and apparently, ladies and gentlemen, that is a fact.
Yep. But our next meme on the evening is Jameis Winston before LASIK surgery and Jameis Winston after LASIK surgery. Man, if he
the one with the red eyeballs.
Yeah, if he really has red eyeballs, man, that's gonna be something. But no, this is why I think he's gonna end up being a better player this year. I mean, LASIK does wonders for people. And,
you know how he's wearing number 2?
Because he's
gonna follow in the footsteps of Aaron Brooks.
Oh,
we all know how that shit went.
That's true. That is true.
Leave it at that. You don't know who that is, kids? Look that up. Aaron
Yeah,
Brooks.
yeah, go
Tell
look
me
it up.
how that career went.
But our next one is breaking news. No, it couldn't be. LT declines to comment. I cannot lie how uncanny Zion Williamson looks to LT. I mean,
Really? Put that up there. I want to see this.
oh, it's up.
Oh
It's
my God.
I know, right?
Oh, are you sure that's not his child?
I know, man. Maybe secret love
His
child
illegitimate
somewhere.
child?
Oh my gosh, it's too good. But our last, our last meme of the evening says, "Me ready for fantasy season," and then preseason injuries.
Basically.
This is why you wait to draft until right before the season starts.
Mhm.
Telling you
What I tell
guys.
people.
Oh yeah, all the time. But that is the end of our meme madness. We thank you guys so much for watching. And if you're listening to our playback, you can go over to our YouTube channel by searching PCN Final Score, and you can go and check out all the great stuff that we have for Meme Madness on there in our video portion. But that does bring us now again to Podcast City Network. What can you tell us about it, Ivan?
Well, have you always wanted to start a podcast but didn't know how? Do you already have a podcast but don't know how to grow it? Are you trying to find ways to make your podcast profitable? You can learn to do it here at Podcast City Network. We offer consulting services and tutorial classes to help with learning to better expand your knowledge and to grow your show. We also give you access to our network of shows to help with cross promotion, guests, and overall reach, while also becoming part of our ever-expanding PCN community based on people helping people. The best part is no membership fee. So what are you waiting for? Go to podcastcity.net/join now and join the fastest growing independent podcast network around, Podcast City Network.
Yeah, buddy, which brings us now to the good old give or go. And I got a couple good topics to talk about this week. First one being UConn says that football coach Randy Edsall is to step down immediately instead of at the end of the season. Give or go?
I'm going to go with that one, Chris, because, I don't know why the hell he even went back.
Yeah, you ain't lying.
If you knew you weren't long for a game, then what the hell are you doing? Was it that bad this off season that you were like, you know what, we're not gonna win a game, I'm out of here? Like, what the actual f, man? Like, you got to have some kind. Like, you really let those kids down. You can't finish a season that just started. I mean, Christ.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, right? I mean, if you were the head coach at UConn, you probably are dying, honestly. So, yeah, man.
It could work both ways, but one thing I know is for sure, we'll never know.
Yeah, I never will, man. And it'll be crazy. UConn, man, has just been on a horrible spin downward ever since he took over, and it doesn't seem like it's going to get better anytime soon. So, no. I don't know, man. But our next give or go topic, the Houston Texans have officially named veteran quarterback Tyrod Taylor their starting QB, and that Deshaun Watson will be riding the pine. Give or go?
I'm going to go with this and say Tyrod Taylor for the better, Chris. I mean, in my opinion, they should ship him away, but you got to get something for him. I just don't know what.
Yeah.
You're not going to get a first-round draft pick, and not anymore. Not after what happened. So, I don't know. Maybe you get like 2 first-round picks, or you get 2 first-round or 2 second-round picks and a first round for another year or something like that. But man, it's going to be interesting to see. I really don't know what to think of it, man, because Houston is not a good team already, but you're putting Tyrod Taylor, who wants to win, with a team who can't win. So,
yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So we'll definitely see how it all ends up working out. But that is the end of our give or go. Thank you guys so much for listening in on that one, which brings us now to PodChaser, because Apple Podcasts is no longer the only credible source for podcast discovery, because you can go on podchaser.com and rate and review every podcast ever. And oh my gosh, I'm all over the place. Browse every podcast ever, rate and review episodes. There it is. Podchaser.com, search keyword Final Score, and follow, rate, and review us. But that does bring us to the week ahead, and we're going to have some NFL Week 2 action. And, of course, you can't forget all the great college football action that we'll have next week. And if you listened earlier in the episode for our games to watch, definitely make sure to check those out. Headlined by Ohio State and Oregon. Definitely figures to be a really great game. But you also need to check out our great lineup of PCN sports shows, including Not a Hockey Market podcast. Let me English today. The Nest podcast, the Rip Griffin Show, and Fixed Edge, which will be live tomorrow on YouTube Live at 5 p.m. So definitely make sure to check that one out. And we'll also go ahead and announce our newest acquisition, the Sportszilla podcast. Which will be bringing you all kinds of different sports news and opinions. Going to be really great stuff. So definitely make sure to check them out. I think they'll be live also starting tomorrow. So definitely make sure to check them out on social media by searching Sportszilla Pod. So also, you can't forget, though, episode 121 of Final Score next Tuesday, at 9 p.m. Eastern on Facebook Live. But, man, that means that's the end of our episode. Any last words, Ivan?
Oh, no, man. It's been great to be back. I'll be back next week if you'll have me. And, yeah, can't wait to get it going again, man. I'm excited.
Absolutely. And definitely love to have you back, man. Always.
Hell yeah.
Tag team champs, baby. We got to make it happen.
We are. Don't forget that.
Yeah, don't forget that. But until next time, I'm Chris, and that's Ivan, and you guys just watch Final Score. Y'all have a great night.
We'll see you next week, guys.
Podcast City Network.